All right, Mr. Singh. All right. So, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order Town of Ledyard Inland Wetlands Watercourses Commission regular meeting of Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, time 7:02. Secretary, call the roll.
Jeff
Present.
Paul Mogul,
Present.
Dan Miller,
Present.
Marie Thompson,
Present.
Beth Reed,
Present.
Automatically be connected to my live
Absent.
Cory Roberts,
Here.
I'm here.
and John. He's absent.
Absent. All right, so before we really get started, I'd like to ask everybody that's on here, if you are not speaking, please put your microphones on mute. There is a lot of feedback that comes through, whether you hear it or not. It's just the background noise gets picked up by our microphones pretty easily. All right, and with that, we'll move on to public comments. I see plenty of members in the public here. Would any of you like to offer any public comments to our meeting here?
I would. This is Karen Parkinson.
Okay. Karen, and just state your address, please, and then feel free.
I just want to make a comment, but it's about the Tri-Town Trail. So if that's an open discussion later, I'll tell it for later.
It is part of our old business on the agenda, but if you'd like to speak to it now, you may.
Okay. I just a point of information. I want to let you know that we have Ian Cole, the soil scientist, has a scheduled site walk at the Tri-Town Trail on this coming Wednesday. Okay.
What time?
That's all I'm comment.
Say who you are. and
This
your
is
address.
Karen Parkinson. Yeah.
And your address.
Okay. That on there?
Yep. Ms. Parkinson, just for the record, could you state your address?
Oh, I said Karen Parkinson, 55 Rose Hill Road.
Thank you.
Mhm.
What time is the site walk?
I don't have a time, okay?
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have any further public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to old business. First item on the agenda is our continued discussion of the Tri-Town Trail. So we started this last month discussion here following Mr. Felice's memo. If you all recall reading it, I believe it was in the agenda packet. So including his memo to the mayor, there's a copy of the application from application 16-013AR from December 2016.
Yep.
Now, we did have a site walk a couple of weeks ago on the 15th, I believe it was. Those of us that were there. All right, so I'll open this to discussion from any of our members.
Yeah, I just had a question in regards to Mr. Felice's follow-up letter. Just to be clear that the only thing so far at issue is that first bridge with the stone dust pathway. That's what I'm getting from the letter.
Mr. Felice?
Sorry about that, I was muted. This is the Wetlands official, Colonel Felice. Yeah, so that's the only really substantial structure right now that's constructed. My memo addressed any future proposed work, though, so I know there was some talk about other bridges that needed to be done. I would also just like to note at this point, I had another memo for tonight. I apologize, it's uploaded late. But I would just like to note that staff has not received any additional information at this time. So I would advise the commission to table any decisions until next month at least. For Ms. Parkinson, at the beginning of the meeting, we heard that Ian Cole is going to be going out there this week. So is my hope that we'll have something for next month.
So my understanding of the issues were that there were a couple. One was, can you move ahead under the current approval, which was an approval which was the best practices. But as the group moves forward, they have like a phase 1, a phase 2, and a phase 3. And so one of the questions was, does the overall application qualify for somebody who just does a phase 1? So that was one of the issues. And then the second piece was that there was going to be DEP permitting and other kinds of walkthroughs that were going to be required. And my question about that is, where are we with regard to requirements of other agencies doing a permitting or a review?
So, Mr. Chairman, I apologize. Ms. Reeby, I maybe interpreted your question wrong. Structurally wise, the first bridge is really the only concern of mine at this point. But Lynn Marie, you're correct. That was for other concerns that I brought up in my memo. As I stated, I haven't received any additional professional opinions yet. So, I mean, I still stand by what I said in that memo. You know, I know we talked about different stages of the project. None of that was really spelled out in the original permit. So that's kind of where the concerns came from, is what, you know, currently is going to be going on and, you know, future projects out there.
Right. So as I'm reading it, there was 3 different additional permits that were required from the original application. One being the 404 project construction notification permit from the Corps of Engineers. There's a 401 individual water quality permit required from DEEP. That looked like it went hand in hand with the 404 permit. And then also a flood management certificate, also administered by DEEP. So it's my understanding right now that we don't have any of those permits in place. Anything in addition to the original permit that just went through the town and us here back in 2016. Is that correct?
That's correct. Our records only indicate that they received the local approval from this commission. We have no evidence of any additional federal or state permitting.
Okay, so the original permit, I'm seeing that, you know, we're the applicants here. The town of Ledyard is the applicants.
So we still need those 3 different oversight permits before they can move forward, before the Tri-Town Trail can move forward. Is that correct?
Well, that was my concern. You know, and that's hopefully what we'll get in a professional opinion, is whether or not we actually do need that. But, you know, again, that was my concern when that's the only thing we have. So that's what I was referencing. If they give us new information saying otherwise, at that point, I guess the commission could have a discussion, you know, how they want to move forward with it.
So it was Ian Cole, the soil scientist, who said we originally needed that, right? And he's walking again on Wednesday. Is he going to like redo his thinking, or do we have some other oversight committee saying which permits and overviews do we need?
If I may, I've done something like this in the past. I think a nice call to the Army Corps would find out right away who's in charge. You're going to have the Army Corps involved if you're going to reconstruct something like this. The DEP will follow Army Corps. So a casual call from an authority such as Jason or somebody, the planner perhaps, or Kyle would be advised. It just based on past experience. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Mogul there. Like, being that the town's the applicants too, I think like right now we have the whole Tri-Town Trail Committee, a lot of members here in our meeting tonight. They're doing a lot of effort to put this trail forward, but the town's the applicants. So I think it's our responsibility to make sure that these permits are being handled, not putting that on the trail committee. It's like, so if these permits are required, it's up to the town and our town representatives that do this. It's like, to get these permits for us, or talk to the Corps to see if these permits are required. It's like, or and some of the things I was reading today, they may have general permits already in place that we might fall under. It's like, but it requires the phone call to talk to them so we can get that information. And then the only other concern that I had, just looking through this, so as Ms. Thompson alluded to, this is being done in phases. So we have a permit here that covers the project as it's seen complete for this 1.25 mile section of trail. So, which requires these 3 additional permits based on the final line of work. Like where we're at right now, I don't think it requires any filling of the wetlands or modifying of the wetlands. It would require the 404 Army Corps permitting or the water quality permit from deep that went along with that. Because we haven't disturbed any wetlands yet. All the work's been done is in the upland review area. It's like it goes right up to the edge of the wetland itself.
Well, there were two
Like,
things that we were concerned about, correct? On our site walk, it was the original section, and then the southern entrance where we've got the cobbles, the existing cobbles, and that was what we were supposed to be, you know, kind of checking out.
right. So, of all the work that's been done so far, so I'm just wondering, is it customary to start work on a project without all the permits required in the original permit here, even though like, we're in a phase of the project where that work hasn't commenced?
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
so we're at the point now still, we don't know what work was done that would fall under additional permitting. You know, it is possible, I guess, that they don't need the additional permitting now, but that's kind of what we're waiting on is the professional opinion stating that they don't need the permitting. So I wouldn't really say that they're working in accordance with that permit. We don't know that right now. We don't know what's been done. They provided a plan, or I'm sorry, the application had a plan. And you know, obviously something differently has been done, and we just don't know. That's the problem right now.
So Justin,
Yes.
who in Ledyard should be calling the different agencies and determining if a permit is needed?
So I think right now this has been assigned to the Park and Recs. Is that correct? As the town department responsible? Mr. Felice, is that correct?
I apologize. I didn't get a chance to read the Park and Rec's meeting minutes from last month. They were posted late. I don't know exactly what happened, so I don't want to comment on that from a staff standpoint. I don't know if any members of Parks and Rec are on here if they want to speak tonight.
No, my question is not did they, but my question is who should?
So my opinion is that it should be our town department that's responsible for this trail. And I'm fairly certain that it's Park and Rec right now.
So
we'll review their meetings. And then
how can we make sure that they know that and that they move forward on that?
so I'd ask Mr. Felice if you had the time later this week to give our Park and Rec department representatives a call and find out what their stance is on getting this stuff done. This is action left over from a 3-year-old permit now. I think you know, it's, a lot of volunteer hours have been put to this. I think we owe it to the volunteers making this trail to come through our permit requirements. At least come up with a good answer for it. In addition to what we're waiting for from Mr. Cole.
Yeah, that's fine, Mr. Chairman. I will certainly reach out to Parks and Rec. I know this project is going through different committees, different commissions, and hasn't been totally clear who's doing what. But that's been the latest, I believe. So I will speak out to them. I'll reach out to them, speak with them, and see what transpired at their last meeting, and then we can move forward from there.
Yeah, I understand. I believe it was just recently signed to Park and Rec within the last month or two.
This is Scott from Parks and Rec. The commission at our last meeting did motion and approve to take the Tri-Town Trail under Parks and Rec.
All right, thank you. Hey, Mr. Johnson, what do you do with Park and Rec?
The director?
All right, thank you. I just identify for everyone that's on the call here.
Scott.
So, hey, so Mr. Johnson, since I have you in this meeting here, could I ask of you to contact the Corps of Engineers and inquire about it's called a Section 404 Project Construction Notification Permit?
Yeah. Would I also want to reach out to Deep as well, or just Army Corps?
I would start with the Army Corps because looks like the deep forms are the state half of the same. So
Okay.
if the Army Corps permit is required, then the state permit is required.
Yeah, I can certainly look into that.
Yeah, and then I think if you have any questions, there's a good paper trail on this that Mr. Felice should be able to provide you with.
Mhm.
Thank you. Anybody have any other comments they'd like to speak to Tri-Town?
So Justin, that takes care of getting the permits done, but we still haven't addressed the larger question of, does this need a new permit for like having 1/3 of it done or done 1/3 of the way? Or is this all doable under one large permit? Or do we have one large permit and we ask them to give us phases or stages? And how does that work?
Right. And that is the outstanding question. But I think in the beginning of this conversation, Mr. Felice asked us if we could table that until next month when he gets the opinion from Mr. Cole.
That'll be great. But sorry, Justin, I just had a thought. What is it that Mr. Cole's going to be answering? What question is he going to be answering?
I believe it was whether the work that's being done right now falls within the scope of the original permit, or if the work is not in accordance with this permit and would be required separate.
But that's not up to a soil scientist to decide. That's really up to our commission to decide.
That's right.
That's correct, Ms. Thompson. However, I think it'd be important for the commission just to hear new information from a professional, and then have that discussion, how the commission feels. I don't think it's going to hurt to wait another month at this point to have some more information, and then have that discussion next month.
All right, have you spoken to Mr. Cole at all, Mr. Felice, in the last month?
I have not heard from Mr. Cole. Our last communication at the meeting was that Mr. Rossman, in conjunction with Chad Frost, were going to be reaching out to Ian Cole. But I have not heard anything from him directly, no.
All right, could I ask if you don't hear anything from here by the end of this week to reach out to him, so that when we come to our meeting next month, if we're not still waiting on a professional opinion?
Yep.
We have that expectation. I just want to make sure that he's understanding that as well.
Nope, I can certainly reach out to him. I don't know if it's my place to ask him to do something like that, but I can certainly, talk to him and see who has spoken to him about this project.
Yeah. So, any more comments for discussion from our members? All right, I'm hearing none. So there's just the couple things I asked of you, Mr. Felice, and you, Mr. Johnson, as we move ahead towards our next meeting. And we'll table this discussion until next meeting. Anticipation of your reports and anything we can get from Mr. Cole. All right. Move on to our next order of old business. We have updated commission member resumes. So if you all saw, Ms. Dobson sent out an email following our last meeting. This was one of our goals that we stated during our annual meeting, to send updated member resumes. So have you received those, Mrs. Dobson?
Yes, I received updates on a few of them, additions, and there's only one that didn't respond. That was John Casano.
All right, thank you. Would you mind reaching out to him again?
Sure, yes.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for all of you that provided those resumes. Moving on, more discussion of our official wetlands map. So I know one of the questions I asked you, Mr. Felice, and then my schedule failed to allow me to come to town hall during open hours to talk to you about is mentioned hiring somebody or getting some temporary help over the summer to put on that or update the map with all the amendments over the years. Does anybody have any more discussion of the wetlands map?
Is that within our budget, or is that this is a budget from the town that's going to be a resource outside of our meager budget? Because it seems to be updating that map would be quite costly and would require a person to be focused on that for several weeks and continuously. So,
No, agreed. Agreed. That was outside of our meager budget, like you said. So we only requested $500.
Yes, where do we get that?
So we were just, yeah, that was more discussion, research to be had. All right, with no more discussion on that, we'll move on to new business. So we have one new application tonight to receive, and that is application IWWC 20-19, which is our amended regulations. So remember last month we had proposed doing the public hearing tonight, but that didn't fall. There was a 35-day requirement to notify deep and adjacent municipalities. So between our monthly meetings, there wasn't 35 days, which is that's been deferred to next month. Is that correct, Mr. Fleece?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. With the late meeting last month with the election and early meeting this month, there wasn't time. Deep has been notified though. We notified them last week. We're within that window now. So we can move to schedule public hearing for next month if the commission wishes.
All right. With that, I'd be looking for a motion to schedule the public hearing for next month.
Yeah, so moved.
All right.
Seconded.
So moved by Mr. Mogul, sent by Rebate. We didn't mention a time. I proposed 6:30. Would you like to include that in your motion?
Yes, I'd like to move that we begin the public discussion around 6:30 next month at the next meeting.
All right, seconded by, thank you. And seconded by Ms. Reby still.
Yes, please.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. All are in favor. Motion passes. We have the proper notification this time, so we'll move ahead with public hearing. 6:30, our next regular meeting of January 5th, I believe. You just verify that for me before you put it in the minutes.
Correct.
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And next item is our wetlands official report. Mr. Fleece.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will apologize. This did not get out till today, just with the holiday last week, and I had some vacation time. So like I said, it's been a quick month since our last meeting. We worked on putting this regulation amendment application together. We have to do notification to DEEP. We also have to notify all the adjoining municipalities. So all those letters had to get drafted. We did one upland review area permit, 29 Homestead Road. That's on Long Pond. And it's just for a small 120 square foot enclosed porch addition. This site plan showed it approximately 75 feet from Long Pond, and that's the edge of the wetlands. That was approved November 9th, and it actually was the day before our last meeting. However, I sent the notification out with my report prior to that, so that's why it's on this month's. Also received one complaint, 532 Lantern Hill Road. This is out on the Stonington end of town. There was a replacement mobile home without any permitting done. This mobile home's still on the wheels. There was no foundation or anything like that, but there was no permits pulled. I reached out to the owner. That is in the process of getting removed, and he will apply for applicable zoning and wetlands permits as needed. I did drive by the site. There was no disturbance to the ground or anything like that. I said it's just parked on wheels, so it's not like they dug anything up. So hopefully that will be addressed for next month, and they can move forward with permitting as needed. Other than that, just been working on, like I said, this application and Tri-Town Trail documents and such. But, any questions on anything?
He's been working on the Tri-Town Trail applications.
There what?
He's been working on the Tri-Town
Who?
Trail.
All right, Ms. Parkinson, would you mind putting your microphone on mute, please?
Karen, listen to what he said. He addressed you.
Let me put your microphone on mute, please.
Put yourself on mute.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Fleece.
Yep.
All right, moving on to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence for this month, Ms. Dobson? All right, moving on to announcements. Any announcements from our members? From our official? Mr. Fleece, any announcements?
Nothing to my knowledge, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you. Move on to minutes approval. So we should have the opportunity to review our regular and annual meeting minutes from November 10th. Does everyone have the opportunity to review those?
Yep.
Okay, so if nobody has any desired changes, I'd be looking for a motion to approve those minutes.
I so move.
All right.
Seconded
Motion
by Thompson.
Seconded by Mrs. Thompson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Approve regular and annual meeting minutes of November 10th. We also had our special meeting minutes for our site walk of the Tri-Town Trail of November 15th. Everyone reviewed those minutes as well? If so, with no comments, I'll be looking for a motion to approve those minutes.
I so move.
Motion by Mr. Peeler. And a
Second.
second by Mr. Mogul. Is that the thumbs up? Okay. His facial gestures indicate yes. Second by Mr. Mogul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Approve special meeting minutes of November 15th. All right, move on to our meeting review. So we're doing a great job with the microphones. We're not picking up a lot of background noise. It does make this much easier for us to understand. We did start a couple minutes late as Ms. Dobson was figuring out the recording. I think that's understandable. Mr. Fleece, for your official report, were you able to send that out prior to the meeting?
That was sent out this afternoon, I believe, Mr. Chairman. Again, I apologize with the holiday week last week. It was a short week for us. Didn't get out till today.
Okay. In the future, I just ask if you could get that out the day before. Give everyone an opportunity to review it and prepare any questions that they have for you.
Yep, understood.
Thank you. All right. I think other than that, our meeting has gone smoothly. Next item is adjournment. So if we are all done, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion by Ms. Reedy,
Yeah, okay.
second by Mr. Peeler. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, which passes. Our meeting is adjourned. Time 7:29. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.